Ugh. So apparently we just walk into other people's houses without telling them now? That's what we've gone to? Wow. So recently I found myself enjoying this book down here, The Van by Roddy Doyle. I found myself enjoying it so much that I decided I wanted to do book talk for you. Coincidentally, we had a project for my English class that requires us to do a book talk about a book we were reading. What a coincidence, right? So as I said before, this book was written by Roddy Doyle. In fact, I have a picture from somewhere. Here it is. So I'm gonna put that right up there, and we'll keep that there. So there's, a good-looking guy. He's nice, bald, chipper. So The Van was part of a trilogy called the Berrytown Trilogy. It has The Commitments, The Snapper, and The Van. 3 different stories. Same characters though, just different stories. I didn't read The Commitments or The Snapper, so I don't care about that. So what's the plot? So this guy named Jimmy and his best friend Bimbo are operating a food truck, or The Van. Bimbo has just got laid off, so he invites Jimmy to work on this food truck with him to get some money. They work hard to get the van cleaned up, and it's ready to open, and it's going really well. Another person who's also working on the van is Bimbo's wife, Maggie. It's still going well, but then Jimmy realizes that Bimbo and Maggie are making all the decisions, and they're not really listening to him. Their friendship starts to fade, and after one last fight, Bimbo does something so insane you will not believe what happens. You'll just have to read the book to find out. So this all takes place in Dublin, Ireland. I forgot to mention that. They're all Irish. But there's no real time period, or at least the book doesn't tell us what time period this is all taking place in. I think they do this because it lets the reader visualize when this is all taking place. Like, for instance, I visualized it happening in modern times. That's just the image I got from reading the book. So this book kind of reminded me of something, which also kind of ties in to the lesson of the story. It reminded me of a few times. Basically, the lesson of the story I got was don't go into business with friends. I kind of tied this into working on projects with your friends. I'm about to call you out. Max, remember that physics project freshman year? Morgan, remember that English project at the beginning of this year? Andre, what did you do exactly for the benchmark? For the book trailer? What did you do? Okay. So yeah, don't go into business with your friends, or also don't do projects with your friends. This is what happens. You go crazy. You lose a friend. You lose an eye. Well, maybe not the eye. So we're actually going to take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back with The Van. Anyway, so the book starts out honestly kind of slow. It just shows Jimmy's family and him interacting with all of them, interacting with his kids. He goes to their soccer games and things like that. He used to be kind of lonely. He went to the library, used to play golf by himself, but then Bimbo came along and, well, then the real story starts. So as I said before, this story takes place in Dublin, Ireland. The best way to describe Dublin, without looking it up, is to think of Paris, France, and Venice, Italy. Think of those 2 cities combined together, and that would be Dublin. There's a river that runs right through it, but it also looks like Paris in some parts, in the downtown parts. It seems like Venice more because there's some seem to be like old-timey parts like that. So like I said before, this seems to be in modern times, but if it were to happen in the past, would it be much different? Honestly, I don't think it would be a lot different because they don't really mention the use of technology much in the book. It's all about this food truck van and just kind of a basic family. So, as I said before, the book starts to get really interesting when the friendship of Jimmy and Bimbo starts to die down a little bit, when Bimbo and his wife start to get a little more controlling over Jimmy and not listening to him. There's a part at the end of the book where there's a employee or a worker that come up to the food truck and say they have to close it down because it's unstable and it's just disgusting and gross and they can't, it's a health hazard. It's at this point when they're told that they have to close down is when Jimmy and Bimbo realize that all this fighting and bickering was almost useless. They kind of come back together a little bit, they start talking again, and they do something kind of crazy. They drive the van down to this lake, and they slowly inch towards it until they're in the water. That's right, they drove right into the lake. And it kind of just ends like that. They just kind of forget all the fighting they did and kind of just make up right then. I really like this ending because it kind of just shows the value of friendship and how even through the rough patches you can always make it better.